I'm going to share with you what I would do if I were to start all over again as a home studio music producer. So if you're just getting started, or even if you've been doing it for a while and want the perspective of someone who's been producing for close to 15 years, then make sure you watch till the end. I'm going to tell you what you should do in terms of gear, how you can learn faster to not waste time, be more focused, and I have some advice that no one else is talking about at the end. Let's do it. Number one, if I had to do this all over again, I can tell you that I would not focus on getting the nicest and most expensive gear right away. I wouldn't be buying the analog compressor or preamp that I'm currently using. No. I'd get affordable gear that gets the job done and lets me learn with only a moderate amount of buy-in. However, I would invest heavily in two things. One, a better computer that has at least 16 gig of RAM, preferably 32 if it was in the budget. There's nothing worse than being limited by what your computer can do. Been there, done that. It sucks. And number two, sample libraries. I am a massive advocate for investing in sound libraries before investing in effects plugins. Because when you're brand new, let's face it, you don't know the difference between the stock EQs in your DAW to the expensive options by any other plugin company out there. So buying new effects plugins right away, in my opinion, is not a good starting point. That should be down the road a ways. But sample libraries. Sample libraries can get you some serious mileage in ways that almost nothing else can. If I started over again, there is no question that I would buy the Native Instruments Complete Bundle. And if I had the budget, I would get the ultimate version to get everything I could possibly want. And I actually put my money where my mouth is, because that was actually the first big investment I ever made personally as a producer. I got the Complete Ultimate Bundle as my very first sample library, like years and years ago, back when it was like version 8 or 9. And to this day, I believe it was the best investment I could have possibly made at the time, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. I still use those sounds and those libraries every single day. Don't spend money on expensive mics, monitors, interfaces, and other gadgets. Get something that works. I'm not saying cheap, something mid-tier that's good and it's gonna get the job done. Most beginners have this expectation that better gear makes them better, but that's so far from the truth. Better skill makes you better. Better gear just amplifies that skill once you're good at it. And better gear without skill is just a waste of money. So there's a time and place for it. There's a reason I'm using better gear now today, because better gear does amplify a more dialed in skill set. But if you can't figure out how to make a $200 mic sound good, I promise you won't be able to make a $1,000 mic sound good either. Number two, if I started over again, I would make as much music as quickly as humanly possible. I would not spend days and days or weeks on a single song or track. I would work to speed my way through as much music as physically possible. I would work hard to get faster and focus less on getting better. And I know this sounds backwards, but hear me out. I put better in quotes because the truth is that working faster and getting more reps is actually the more efficient way to get better. The whole reason for making as much music as possible is to speed up the learning process. The faster you make music and the more reps you get in on more music, the faster you will learn. Now, I've talked about this before, but someone who spends a month on one track will learn less than someone who cranks out 5 tracks in a month, but focuses a little bit less on quality. You'll have plenty of time down the road to focus on quality, but in the beginning, let's face it, you don't really know anything yet. So just get as many reps as possible under your belt so you can speed up the process. Number 3, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I would limit tutorials. I can't believe I'm saying this. I have a tutorial channel. And here's the thing, if you do this, it actually hurts my channel, but it is ultimately better for you. I'm not saying don't watch any tutorials. I'm not saying limit them entirely. Instead, I would watch 1 or 2 tutorials on a topic I want to specifically learn and then immediately get off of YouTube and implement and practice that thing in real life. Here's the reason, because if you are binge watching videos and learning tons and tons all at once, you're actually probably doing more harm than good. You're not actually learning anything. The reality is that you don't actually learn anything by watching a video. Heck, even one of my videos. What you do learn from is applying what you were taught in those videos. That's the real secret. YouTube's awesome. Learning is awesome. But some people binge and get this hit of satisfaction like you're learning something, but then never once open up your DAW to put in the work. And how many times does it happen that when you do open up your DAW, you're like, wait, what was I supposed to do again? That's the problem with binge watching videos. Instead, watch 1 or 2 at a time, shut it off, and then put it into practice. Trust me, you will learn so much faster. Number 4, if I started over again, I would be very cautious with whom I share my music, and I actually would not be posting my music on social media and trying to build an audience in the beginning. I know this might be a bit controversial in the age of everyone wanting to post all the time, everything they do, and get famous, but I would focus first on getting my music to a point where it no longer sounds amateur before beginning to really share my music publicly. And I have a story about this. I actually released an EP that I produced when I was like 19 years old. And at the time, in my limited knowledge, I didn't really realize that it was not that great. I'm not saying it was terrible, but it was undeniably not at a professional level. And I released it on all platforms. And today, you can't find that album anywhere. Why? Because I took it down. I realized that that's not something that I really want anyone seeing, especially after this channel started growing fast, because it actually felt like it undermined my credibility to have an almost 10-year-old record that sounded like crap out there. I even had someone comment on one of my YouTube videos knocking me for having a record that sounded like crap before I removed it, and they weren't wrong. It was not a good record. But the real thing I want to focus on here is actually who you share your music with, and less on the social media and distribution side. When you are starting out, you are very likely not going to be good, which is normal. It's totally normal. That's the norm, and it will possibly be frustrating. So if you share your music with the wrong person at the beginning, I think we all know that some people can be, let's say, a little less than encouraging, or maybe even mean or rude, or might belittle you. And if someone tells you that you suck, are you going to want to continue? Is that going to encourage you to continue? Is that going to excite you? Like, why put yourself through that? So instead, here's what you do. Find a core circle of people you know you can trust who will be honest, right? But also encouraging. I get the desire to share your music. Trust me, I do. But at the same time, I know how tender music is and how personal it can be. It is really hard to share something when the response might not be good. Even now, I have millions of views on my channel and over 125,000 subscribers. But yet still sometimes I get these nasty comments that really suck to read. And sometimes, I'll be honest, I hate looking at the comments section because people can be pretty awful. So when you're just starting out, why would you put yourself through that when you can't be 100% confident in what you're doing? Confidence breeds toughness in that arena. I am confident in what I'm doing, which means I can ignore these comments and kind of shrug them off for the most part. But that doesn't mean they don't still hurt. When you are not confident though, those comments can legitimately destroy your desire to keep going. So it's like that saying, be careful who you make friends with. Eventually you'll get to a point where you're gonna be like, okay, like it's time to start sharing this with the world. And that's awesome. But just be aware that even when you are confident, people can still be nasty. So make sure you have friends who care for you that are close by. If you do these 4 things at the beginning, it's gonna speed up your learning curve significantly. Let me know in the comments down below what you think in this video next. Definitely gonna help you out.